Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? I was just driving around listening to some music, and I have my iPod Shuffle on, and on my phone, or iTunes Shuffle or whatever, and Vogue Live by Madonna. I was listening to that, and then that went right into Cyndi Lauper, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, and I thought, this is so funny that like these two songs that were kind of like power songs to building who I am to some degree. I thought it was kind of funny that they just came on back to back. In junior high, Girls Just Want to Have Fun was like a song that like I listened to on repeat all the time, and then I remember when Vogue came out and we listened to it in all the clubs, and I had just turned 18, I think, when it came out, and because it came out in like 1990, and somebody is texting me. I literally just left like 5 minutes ago. If that is Alex texting me after I just told him I was leaving to go vlog. 2 texts. This will be interesting. Anyway, how are you guys doing today? What a great day it was. And I got like everything done early that I needed to get done. Well, one kind of sad thing happened today. I'll tell about that in a second, but I got everything done that I needed to get done early today, and then I got to just kind of hang out with Alex and the dogs, and then I took a nap. And I was like sitting downstairs and I was watching the end of half an episode of Girls Incarcerated, and Alex was upstairs laying down in bed, and I didn't hear, like, he usually like will be like on his phone, like looking at funny videos on Instagram, and all of a sudden he just stopped talking, and I was like, or I stopped hearing it, and so I went upstairs like a half an hour before I went outside and called Tanya, and then I went upstairs and he was fast asleep. That's not Alex. But I will tell you that my battery on this camera, I didn't realize it until right now. I didn't charge my battery after I made 3 or 4 videos. So I'm not really sure how long this battery is going to last for my vlog tonight. And then I just put in the other battery at home, and so I was like, I'm gonna go vlog, and if it dies like really early into me vlogging, I will go back and get the other battery, because like if it only gives me like 10 or 15 minutes worth of battery, then I'm gonna go back and get the other battery while it's charging right now. But it was dead too, so I had 2 dead batteries. Well, this one that I've been filming on today that I charged overnight, so I don't know how much battery it has on it, and then the dead battery that I just started charging at home. So let's just get the kind of, it may not be sad, I don't know. Let's just get it right out of the way. But it's part of my life, so I'm gonna talk about it. The vet called today with the results from the lab work, the blood lab work. So if you didn't watch the vlog the other day from when I went to the vet, she suggested that we get some lab work done for PP, some blood work, because we hadn't. And so we got blood work done, and she called me back today, and she said something about, I didn't really understand, something about his enzymes were kind of like, there was something that looked askew at the enzymes that would point in the direction of kidney disease. So she asked me to get a urine sample and bring it in. I'm gonna do that. She said I could do it tomorrow morning, or I could do it Monday morning. So I'm gonna try to get up tomorrow morning and do it, but I don't think they're gonna take it to the lab until Monday is what she said anyway, so I don't know that it really matters, but we'll see. I have it sitting right. I went to the vet today. She was like, can you come and get like a catch kit? And I was like, yeah. So it's like this little kit that you get that you like put underneath him while he's peeing, and then it has like a syringe looking thing, and then you put that in like a plastic bag and you take it in there. But anyway, I guess the reason why, I don't really understand, honestly. I was talking to Tanya about it, and Tanya was telling me that one of her dogs that she had, that was like her recovery dog, died of kidney failure, of kidney disease. And because I was talking to Tanya about like, well, like, what are the signs and symptoms? And she was like, you'll know, Peter, like, Pee-Pee will let you know. And I think it was really sad, especially today, because, like, Pee-Pee was doing so great. Like, no coughing, nothing. Like, he did really well today. He was super active. He was running around in the backyard. So it's really hard for me, like, to know all this stuff is going on, and then to see him, and he is just doing really well. And, anyway, Alex did not take the news really great. So, she said that the reason why it's difficult is because the medicine that we would use for heart disease, or the medicine we're using for heart disease, like the Lasix, wants him to get rid of fluid and water, whereas with kidney disease, you want him to retain it because he would become dehydrated really quickly. So we have to find out, like, a balancing thing. And she's like, it is something that we can do. She was like, but it's just it's tricky. And so she was like, she goes, Peter, it might not even be this. She said, it might not be that at all. She said, it could be from something else. She was like, that's why I want to get a urine sample from him. But, you know, of course, I take it to the worst place. And I don't know, I got to a place today when I came home, and he just kind of was looking at me, and Alex fed him, and he just seemed so great. And, like, Alex kind of broke down in the kitchen, and he and I were, like, sitting there talking. And I said, you know, Alex, I said, we're gonna have days where we have to make some difficult decisions, and this is not one of them. And Pee-Pee is really good today. So let's just enjoy our time with him today, you know, and when we have to make difficult decisions, we'll make difficult decisions, and, you know, we'll do the right thing. So that was that. And, but it kind of screwed with me a little bit earlier in the day. You know, initially when she said that, there's like fireworks going off in the distance. Initially, when she said that, you know, she said this to me today on the phone. She said, you know, I was wrong the first time. She said about the 13 and a half years. She was like, or, you know, I thought he'd only make it 6 months, and he's made it, you know, almost 2 years. And she said, I could be wrong again about this. She goes, I always hope I'm wrong. She said, but we want to just stay, you know, in front of this. And I said, I don't really care as long as he's not in pain. I don't want him to be in pain. That's like, you know. And she was like, no, that's obviously the first thing. And she was like, well, how does he seem like he's doing? And I said, he's great today. He's like running around the backyard with his brothers. And she just laughed on the phone. She's so great. So we will deal with that and find out what the results are. And, you know, I was thinking about it in, like, relation to, like, other friends of mine that have had, like, their dogs have had really serious health complications by, like, 7 or 8. And even though Pee-Pee is small, because you know, small dogs last a lot longer sometimes, they live a lot longer, you know, he's still, like, 13 and he's almost 13 and a half. And this is just starting to become, like, a serious issue. And he seems pretty good, and he takes his medicine every day. I don't know. I think the realization just kind of hit me not too long ago that he's not going to live to be 20, you know? And the reality is that with Pee-Pee, Boo, and Tucker, like, all 3 of them are pretty healthy. We've had a lot of luck with all 3 of them. You know, Boo and Tucker are going to be 10 towards the end of this month. Alex says I think he says it's September, and I say it's July. We have it written down. But anyway, they're going to be 10, and, like, they really haven't had any health concerns, either one of them, other than their teeth. And we, like, take our dogs to the vet quite a bit. I mean, if you watch my vlogs, you know, like, we're at the vet, like, all the time, you know, doing checkups and stuff. So we'll see. My dad had a dog. My stepmom had a dog, so she really wanted miniature Yorkies. And one time she got this dog. They've had so many different Yorkies that were supposedly miniature, but this one time they had this miniature Yorkie, and the vet was real cruel about it. Like, the dog got sick at like 8 or 9 months, and when my dad and my stepmom took the dog to the vet, which was a vet my dad had gone to for years and years and years with different dogs. And my dad kind of like, I think this is like one of the last times they ever went to him. So the vet said something to my dad about, well, this is what happens when people get these ridiculous dogs like this that aren't supposed to live very long, or something like that. And my dad was so offended by the whole situation. And so then the dog made it to like 3 or 4, and it got like really sick. And this dog was so cute. It had this long tongue that like always stuck out. So it would just, and it was literally like this big. It was real tiny. And maybe he was older than that. Maybe he was like, his name was Bobo. Maybe he was like 6, I think. He was older, but he was still real, like, little. Like, he was like 3 to 6 in there. But I remember they took him back to that vet, and this was I think it was the last time they ever went. The vet looked at my stepmother, and you don't tell my stepmother things like this, and he said, that dog is genetic waste. He said, you're messing with stuff, making these miniature versions of these dogs. And my stepmother said, what did you say to me? And he said, this dog is genetic waste. Like, anyway, because like they had, whatever. My stepmother went home, and she fed this dog, no lie, like Pedialyte, or not, I don't think it's Pedialyte, but something that you give dogs or whatever that's like that. She fed it with like an eyedropper, okay? This dog lived to be like another 4 years. That vet told my stepmom, your dog won't be alive in a month. That dog lived like another 4 years, and every day my stepmom fed it with an eyedropper. Can you believe that? We'd go over there, and she'd have him on the counter, and she'd be feeding him with a little eyedropper. He was so cute, and he was great until the end, That was wrong. So, but his delivery was horrible. Our vet is fantastic. She is fantastic. But very realistic, too. So, that was earlier today. It was sad. I try to stay hopeful in those situations. Realistic, but hopeful, Okay, and really the only reason I'm even talking about it on here is because I know that there are going to be changes to PP's medical conditions that are going to affect my day, because as everybody knows, these dogs are my daily life. And so I don't want to just get on here one day and be like, oh, this happened, and there not being any, like, history or backstory to me talking about it. So I just wanted you guys to know. I know a lot of you email me and ask me, and say that you're, sending prayers and stuff for PP. So just want to let you guys know what was going on. We actually today, somebody had tagged us in this picture on Instagram. It came at like such the perfect time. I just have to tell you, it came at such the perfect time. Somebody had tagged us on this picture that they painted of PP on Instagram. And Alex is actually the person that had the conversation with them on Instagram, like in DMs, about this painting. And she said she wanted to send it to us. And so we were standing in the kitchen today, and I had gone to the post office box earlier and gotten a bunch of stuff, which I have to show all this post office box. You guys, I have gotten the nicest cards and everything, and somebody sent me a gift card from Starbucks today, which is fantastic. You guys are just so nice to me. And so this one was like, it was with this big pink envelope. Was that pink envelope or the brown envelope? There was a big pink envelope, but it was this big like brown envelope, and it was to Peter and Alex. And I said, babe, here, this is to both of us, you open it. And he goes, oh my God, I think this is the painting. And it was like right at the moment that we were standing in the kitchen, and we were kind of like both crying, and which, we're both crying about PP, and then we look down, and PP's like looking at us, like, and he's like, arr, 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 like he's ready to go and have fun. And so it's like, anyway, so we open this letter up, and it's this gorgeous painting of PP. I mean, it's just fantastic. We're gonna get it framed, and So I'll show you guys that tomorrow. But it just like came at the perfect moment. Anyway, yeah. I think relationships are about, you know, bonding and helping each other through times like that too. I had this moment like in the house when I was like, because I can't be really like a mess for Alex on moments like that, because this is like Alex's dog. Like, you know, he had him and he brought him into the relationship and stuff like that. But like, I have like a completely different relationship with PP. Like, he's like my best friend. Like, he's been there. Like, I'm with him all day long. You know, we sleep in together. And when I wrote my book, he was right next to me. And you know, I have little jokes. I'm like, come on, let's go get your babies. And you know, when I'm talking about like Boo and Tucker, and I had this like moment today, and I was like, you know, like, what am I gonna do without my best friend? You know, like, I just can't even imagine like waking up without him being there. But like, I know that that's inevitable too, right? Like, I know that that's gonna happen at some point. And Tony was telling me that like with kidney disease, like it happens really fast sometimes with dogs. And I'm just like not ready for it to happen. Like, I'm just... I just want more time, you know? There's no dog like him. And I love all my dogs. Like, I would be a mess with any of them, you know, but and I feel like I look at like Boo and Tucker and I'm like, these dogs are gonna live to be like 18, you know? And I'm really worried about them. I'm like, they're gonna have like no clue of what's going on. They like literally live and breathe PP, you know? Like, we talk about like the question of like, do animals have souls? And there's so many people out there that like are like, animals don't have souls and they don't have personalities and whatever. Well, I don't believe that, first of all. I believe very much that animals have souls. But I also believe that animals change souls, and PP has been a dog that has changed my soul. You know, he has like changed our lives forever, and I'm just not ready for it to be over yet. And I think that's the part of like just time going by, or, you know, we talk about getting older. It's not always just about getting older, it's about the days going by. You know, like that's one of the things that sucks about like the days going by, is that it's less days with the person that you love or the animal that you love, or, do you know what I mean? Like less days on Earth. And I think that there are things like this that are reminders of that. And so like today I was trying to tell Alex, I was like I just like, let's just stay in the moment and enjoy this. And I think that's why he like finally went upstairs, you know. And when I went upstairs, like PP just like popped up his head and he was like sleeping right next to Alex, you know. And I don't want to spend every day that I have left with this dog that has magically changed my life, you know, being like, woe is me, he's gonna be gone soon. I can remember like back in the day, like when my mom was like, she first got sick and stuff, she'd say, well, my God, don't put me in a ground jet, you know? And I think we have a tendency to do this. They have like ripped this road up with construction. I am sorry, you guys. This is why I haven't been coming this way as much. But I think we take it there, you know? It's like, to some degree, like, yes, you have hope, but you also have like this reality kick in that you're like, okay, and then there's also this that could be the option. And think it's, hard when you're dealing with very, very serious situations with, people and dogs and stuff, because you want to stay hopeful, but at the same time, it's like, well, things don't look great. You know what I mean? Anyway, if you've been through it, you know what I'm saying. I had somebody say to me when my mom passed away, they said, and this is really true, and this, I don't mean this by any means condescending or patronizing, but they said to me, you don't really understand what it's like to lose a parent until you lose a parent. They had lost their mom, years before me, lots of years before me. And he had said to me, he goes, you don't really understand what it's like to lose a parent until you lose a parent. And it's true, right? You don't. And so, when I have friends of mine that are like, I don't know how you did it. I'm going to be a complete wreck. And I'm like, you're going to be fine. And they're like, no, you don't understand. I'm like, yes, I do. I totally understand you're going to be fine. It's surreal. There's no feeling like it in the entire world. I think each of us have our own unique reaction or response to it, because our relationships with our parents are completely different. Had my mom died, 15 years previous to when she did, I can tell you that my reaction today and my reaction then would have been so completely different, because she wouldn't have been sober. Things wouldn't have been resolved between us. We would have had a lot of things that hadn't been said. And that would have affected my grieving process with my mom, I think the fact that there was nothing left unsaid between my mom and I, that, we had worked out everything between us. I can look at that relationship and I can say that. And I can say that with my dad, and I can say that with my stepmom too, that if something were to happen tomorrow, I've said what I needed to say. I'm not I think this is very important, and this is something that we don't talk about. Make sure you say the things to people, and I'm not talking about the harsh things, right? I'm talking about whatever issues you have with people, if they mean something to you, because there's a lot of people that you might have issues with that they don't really mean a whole lot to you. If they passed away, you'd be like, well, that's really sad, okay, but they're not really in my life anymore. Do you know what I mean? Maybe somebody that you knew 15 or 20 years ago, or, you know what I mean? That maybe you didn't end ways on a great note, but it wouldn't devastate you if they passed away tomorrow. But if it's somebody that you're super close with, okay, or somebody that's a family member of yours, this is why, Alex and I, it's so important to us that we always say, I love you before we part ways, we kiss, and, we don't, go to sleep angry and things like that, because you never know. It's this, what just happened with Alex's friend that passed away in the car accident. Nobody knew that. Let's just be for real. That's crazy, but that's how a lot of people pass away. And so, for me, with the close relationships in my life today, I really try to have things resolved, especially with my close family. With Caroline and I, there's nothing that hasn't been said. With Tanya and I, everything's been said. It stopped, and I didn't even realize it, and I don't know where it stopped, but I was talking about when you, make sure that you've said what you want to say to people, and I was like my dad, my stepmom, my cousin, which is really all my family that I have left. I just think it's important, because in the midst of losing someone, which is such a surreal feeling anyway, in the midst of that, to then be in your head thinking, and I never said this, or beating yourself up because the last thing you said was that, And you can tell somebody, I've had friends of mine that the last conversation they had with a parent was a full-on fight, right? And you can tell those people all you want. Well, they loved you, which you do. That they, if they're somewhere right now, that they're not thinking about that they want the best for you. They're not mad at you. You can say all of those wonderful things, those supportive things. I think in your head, because I've had friends that have really struggled with this, it's that lingering, yes, but this is what I said last, you know? It's weird. Life and death. I think there's a quote, I don't remember who it's by, it's like death is the great equalizer. Well, on to happier things. Stranger Things. Are you guys watching it? Oh my god. I am so obsessed with it. But I'm only like 3 episodes in. And like, because I keep on getting home late to watch it. So it's early tonight, actually. It's 11:51 right now. And I'm going to finish this vlog, which is not going to be long tonight. And then, I know I always say that, but it's not. It's probably going to be as long as this battery lasts. And then I am going to, actually, I have a half an hour left of The Pines, the first book in the series. I downloaded the second book in the series today. There's a book I wanted to ask everybody about, if anybody has read. It's the newest book. It literally just came out this month. And it's the newest, so on Audible they have, I went on Audible and bought 5 books today, you guys. I need to stay off of Audible. Well, I had a credit, and then I bought 3 extra books, 3 extra credits, because I'm just flying through books. And then I bought another book because it was only $9, so I just bought it, like, straight out. But, so Reese Witherspoon has, like, a book club on Audible, where she picks, like, books that you read every month. And I can't remember what the book is for this month, but I looked to see when the release date was, and it was like, it literally must have just come out, I think, because it said 7-something on there, so it was July something of this year. I think it said 2019, but anyway, it's about these, like, 4 women that work in this work environment, and they're, like, supervisor, I don't know, like, he's real shady, and they've, like, had it, and so they take revenge. And it's like this murder mystery, like mystery thriller, but it looks really good. Has anybody heard of this book? The thing is, when I read the reviews, like, one review was absolutely glowing, and the next one was like absolute crap. It was like, don't get this book, it's horrible. It's a great premise, but it's not a good read at all. And the thing is that the book is kind of long. It's like 18 hours or something. So, like, I don't want to, like, invest in a book like that if it's something that I can't get into, you know what I mean? And then I bought but I didn't get that. I got the second book in the Pines, Wayward Pines series, which is called Wayward. And I'm going to start that as soon as I finish this one. It's about the same amount of time. It's like 8 hours. So for me, it'll be like 4.5 hours I'll listen to it. So I should probably finish that early next week. I'm like just like blowing through books right now. I've been reading outside a lot. Oh my god, I sat outside today and I talked to Tanya. I sat on the back porch. First of all, I'm loving watering. It is so, like, therapeutic for me to, like, I have this big watering bucket that I got from IKEA. And I have a little one too. That was my mom's, this little plastic job. But I like fill my watering can, and then I go and I water all of my plants one by one. And, well, first I water them with this little plastic one so that they get full water, because it's like it's been like 85, 90 every day, so they like dry up real quick. So I water them each individually, so like they each get a whole thing of water, and then I take the watering can and I water it all over their flowers. You should see my flowers. They are like absolutely like beautiful. But today, they had like a lot of like deadheads on them, so I went around and I like deadheaded them and took all that off. It was really therapeutic for me to kind of like work with the plants. And so anyway, on the back patio, I was telling Tanya, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plants on the back patio. And then on the front, I have 5. So I have 5 out back and 5 out front. Alex said that he thinks that they're enough, but I said I wanted more. They're gorgeous. And then inside I got a couple of those little plants, 2 of them. Then I want to get some more of them too. Well, I got 2 of those little succulents that he likes, but then I got an ivy plant to put in the pot behind me, which is now behind me, that I repotted it. I kind of forgot how much I miss, like, back in the day, like, my mom would always, like, be like, you need to get your hands in the earth, and she really believed in that, and, like, planting stuff, and so when I was growing up as a kid, like, there would be a certain amount of that we would do, not necessarily, like, yard work always, like, weeding areas, like, I hated doing that to this day. I would pay somebody a lot of money before I would weed anything. I hate weeding area, like walkways and stuff, because as a kid, my mom always had me do that. And we had this brick courtyard when, so we had this like huge brick like walkway that went up, and then we had this courtyard that was probably like 15 feet in, and probably when you walked in, it had these Korean boxwood hedges on either side of it, so it looked English. You guys, I cannot believe that my battery, I am like far away from home too, and my battery is about to die. It just started flashing. But anyway, we had these brick courtyard, and it looked like an old English farmhouse. That's how my mom wanted it to be. So anyway, but in between the brick came up this little like moss and these little like weeds, and she would have me out there and picking these weeds. Like, that was my summer job. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to turn around, because if not, then this vlog is only gonna be a half an hour. So I gotta go get the other battery. I'm gonna listen to The End of the Pines on my way home. I don't know if I can finish it on my way home. I probably am like 25 minutes from home though right now. Anyway, so I will be back in just a little bit. Bye. Alright, I'm back. I went and got my battery. Alex was going to bed. I said goodnight to my husband. He has to be up early tomorrow, and then we are going out to dinner tomorrow night for our friend's husband's birthday, which will be fun. Oh, I don't even have the light on, because a lot of Alex's like older friends from like high school and college and stuff are gonna, well, not college so much, but like Sarah will be there and some other people. It'll be fun. I think Sarah's gonna be there. I'm almost positive she's gonna be there. But his friend that he went to Chicago with a couple weeks ago, she's going to be there, and it's like Alex met this girl through her, and then it's this girl's husband's birthday, and so we're all going. And it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. And then I'm going to finish my vlog tonight, and then I'm going to go home, and I'm going to watch Stranger Things. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. So I have a half an hour left I was gonna listen to it on the way back to the house, but I ended up talking on the phone. I have a half an hour left of The Pines, which is so good. I think that, like, if I remember the book, if I remember the TV show correctly, the first book, The Pines, of the Pines series, which was called Wayward Pines on TV, I think the first book is the whole first season, because I kind of remember how the first season ends. A lot is different though. The book is obviously more detailed, and it's a lot better. A lot better? It's better. It's a lot better. It's more detailed, yeah. It's spooky. It's about this guy, and he is an FBI agent. Well, he's a Secret Service agent, and he wakes up in this town, and he's been in this hospital, and he's been in this horrible car accident, and he remembers being hit by a Mack truck. And so he comes into this town, and it's like this kind of, everything's like very 1950s-ish, and anyway, he's like, something feels off to him about the town, but he can't really figure it out, like what's off about the town. And but like he can't leave either, and he's like in danger. And then this bartender tells him that he's in danger, and so it's like them on the run. It's really good. I've read some good books this year. I'm like 10 books away from what I read last year, because last year I didn't read that many books. I think I ended up reading like 32 or 33. I wanted to go back and look, but I can't find them on my Goodreads now, so I'm going to have to go back to one of my first or last videos, like the first videos of 2019 or my last videos of 2018, and see like what I did on my Goodreads challenge, because I don't remember how many books I read last year. Not that it really matters. I do remember the best I've done is 62. And I think that was 2 years ago, or 2 or 3 years ago. That was like my best year. And it probably was my first year on BookTube that I did that, because I just had my BookTube channel until September of that year. And I was like reading all the time. I was listening to audiobooks like literally all the time. And I mean, I would get in my car and listen to 4 hours of an audiobook in one night. I literally could like start and finish an audiobook in one day. And I was listening to like 15 books a month, 10 books a month. Maybe that was the year before I got on Goodreads. I think that might have been the year before I got on Goodreads, because a lot of what I have read is not on my Goodreads. I think I tried to figure it out one time, and I had like, the year before I got on Goodreads, I had read like 100 and some books or something like that. Like I went and tried to figure it out. Like I started like counting the ones that I still had and the ones that I could remember reading that came out from that year and stuff like that. And I went back into my Audible and I like looked at all of the books I had read that from that year, and I went into like whatever. But my goal is always 100 or 101. And I never get anywhere near close to that. I'm going to turn in here and I want to look at the books that I bought today on Audible and tell you guys about them. Oh, I'm turning into Whole Foods. I haven't been to Whole Foods in a long time. I need some water, but I don't have any left. My coffee is completely empty. Are you guys excited to find out what audiobooks I read? Valerie just texted me. She's like, what's that? Unsaid, vlogging. Okay. Are you ready? You so excited? So I bought The Butterfly Garden, which is a series by Dot Hutchinson. My friend told me, my recovery friend told me to read that. She said it is really, really good. She said it's super scary and it's like about an FBI agent. And she said it's kind of like early James Patterson, and that it's like about these girls that are abducted. And then I got Disappearance at Devil's Rock by Paul Tremblay, which I actually think I got that book in a Book of the Month Club series or some kind of book. I used to do these book unboxings, but the company that I did the book unboxings for, I don't even remember what it's called. Oh, Page Habit. They ended up going under, so I actually liked them as a subscription box. So it's kind of sad to me that they went under. So I got that one because I read The Cabin at the End of the World, and I loved it. This book didn't get great recommendations on it, but sometimes books that other people give like 3 stars to, I end up really, really liking. So I got this. It's about this mother whose son goes missing. And then I got this one called Infinite by Jeremy Robinson. And it's like some science fiction thing about... like I'm kind of like getting into like the science fiction stuff that's like more of today, but it's about, there's a store called Pet People. I've never heard of it before. But anyway, it's about, I read the synopsis for it. It's about this, these people that are like cryogenically frozen to go into outer space, and it doesn't work or something. And because like the Earth is like too packed to be inhabited anymore. I look like I'm like sitting like way down. And so they go to some other, I can't remember what, they like in the Mars, something is like too crowded too, so they go to some other planet, and then the guy, like when he gets out of it, like his being cryogenically frozen, he like gets stabbed immediately. And then it's like, it's one of many times that he will die or something like that. And then I got Lock Every Door by Raleigh Sager, which is his 3rd book. I haven't actually read his 2nd book, which I also have. And I got Wayward, which is Wayward Pine's book 2. And then I have Zodiac, which is a shocking true story of the Zodiac, which is what we're reading this month for, let me pull just the titles of the unfinished, which is the book club book this month is Zodiac. And then I bought the It's a Long Story. This is, those were the ones I bought tonight, all the way up to Wayward Pine's book, Wayward. Zodiac, and then I bought the other day, I got It's a Long Story, My Life by Willie Nelson, because my dad and Susie and everybody told me that it was really, really good. And then I got The Gone Dead, which looked good. Radio Silence by Alice Oseman, I heard was good, so I got that. I have to still finish On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. Carrie Mora by Thomas Harris. It's his new novel, Thomas Harris, that wrote Silence of the Lambs. It's really short, 6 hours and 8 minutes. The Music of What Happens by Bill Konigsberg. So Bill Konigsberg is this gay author, and he wrote this book that was so fantastic. It was called Openly Straight, and I read it like a year or two ago. And then some book, Truth and Lies, a D.I. Amy Winter something. I can't see all of it. Some of these books I get on the Daily Deal. The Mystery of Alice, The Wild Heart of Stevie Nicks I got, because I heard that was really good. Daisy Jones and the Six, which is a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. Okay, that's a new book by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and she wrote The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I've heard it's pretty good. Tanya did not like it, though. The Dispatcher by John Scalzi, that was a Daily Deal that I bought. So Audible has daily deals that are like $2.95 to $3.25. Don't you think they should sponsor me? I mean, I talk about Audible all the time. Like, it is such a natural sponsorship. They're probably like, why would we sponsor you when you're talking about us for free anyway? And then I got Riley, some of these books, I know what they are. So when you have a membership with Audible now, you get like 2 Audible originals a month that you get to pick. Like, I'll go in here in a second and I'll show you what they are for July. And then I got Lady from the Black Lagoon, which I'm excited about reading. Did I go through these with you guys? White Trash Zombie Apocalypse. Do I have the other, what was the other one that I wanted? Man Called Ove, I have not read yet. Dear Evan Hansen, I haven't read that yet. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, I still need to go back to that. Oh, Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen McManus, I really want to read that. Where's the new Riley Seiger book? Only Human by Sylvain Nouvelle, that's the 3rd one in his Sleeping Giant series, I want to finish that. Oh, Of Blood and Bone by Nora Roberts, it's the 2nd one that I want to read that one. What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera, I really want to read that and I haven't read that yet. Oh, the Patti Smith book, I wanted to read that. 9 Perfect Strangers by Leah Moriarty. I have so many books to read, you guys. When the Crawdads Sing by Della Owens. I've heard so many great things about that book. The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and whatever, I can't, We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix, which is the next book. He wrote My Best Friend's Exorcism, which was about the 80s. The House of Impossible Beauties by Joseph Cassara. Okay, so this book is about, like, the underground ball scene. It's like Pose, and it's supposed to be fantastic. It's 15 hours, though, and I started listening to it, and it is, like, truly literary fiction, so you have to, like, really listen to it. Girls' Night Out, which Mel told me to get. Thanks, Mel. And then she said it was horrible. Before the Fall with Noah Hawley. I actually got that as a book of the month. These are like old. I've had these in here for a long time. I wanted to read that a long time ago. I got that as a book of the month club book. The Deep Dark Descending by Alan Eskins. I can't remember what the book was by Alan Eskins, but I got it as a Daily Deal book like a long time ago. I wish I would show the Daily Deal on here, but I got this book a while ago, and it was about this kid, and he was like in college, and he found, like, did this investigation. It was so good. I can't remember what it was called, but it was by Alan Eskins. Oh, The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. Okay, that was the 2nd book, and I have that. November 9th by Colleen Hoover. Because everybody recommends Colleen Hoover books to me. I have, I'll just read straight through them. Love and Gelato, Orange is the New Black, Meg, about the shark. The Last Mrs. Parrish, because Tanya told me to read that. When the Bow Breaks, Jonathan Kellerman, because I wanted to start reading a series. In Search of Us by Ava DeLaria. She's the one that wrote, oh shit, what was that Ava DeLaria book called? Why can't I think? But I loved it. It was one of my very first young adult books that I ever read. It's about the girl that wrote all of the, it took place in a diary. Love Letters to the Dead. It was fantastic. Fantastic Land, a novel, that was a daily deal. Kids of Appetite by David Arnold. I read his first one. It was called Mosquito Land, and I loved that. Kill Creek by Scott Thomas, supposed to be real scary. Noah's Song by Jacqueline Osborne. It's like some gay book. The Serpent King by Jeff Zintner. I've been wanting to read that for years. We Now Return to Regular Life. That's supposed to be a book about like mental health and coming out. West Cork, which was an Audible original. Renegades by Marissa Meyer. She wrote this, the Lunar Chronicles, and I wanted to read that. That was good. Crazy Witch Asians by Kevin Kwan. I haven't seen the movie yet. I want to read the book first. Mel read it and said it was fantastic. Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafon. I was going to do a read along with somebody, or like a buddy reads with that, and it's 18 hours. I didn't end up reading that. Gristmill Road. Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I heard that series is really, really good. The Member of the Wedding by Carson McCullers. It's narrated by Susan Sarandon. It's one of my all-time favorite novels of life. I focused on Southern Lit when I was getting my English degree. And Carson McCullers I love, like The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, but Member of the Wedding is probably my favorite book of his. And Carson McCullers. Was it he? She? I think it was a she. I can't remember. That obviously shows like how focused I really am on Carson McCullers. But anyway, but I loved The Member of the Wedding. It's about this little girl, and I'm almost positive Carson McCullers is a woman, because I read like Eudora Welty. Carson McCullers. Yes. Her first novel, Heart is a Lonely Hunter, explores the spiritual isolation of misfits and outcasts in a small town. Member of the Wedding is it? Okay, here it has Member of the Wedding. So let me read it to you. Such a cute good book. In a letter to her husband, Reese McCullers, to explain that the novel was one of those works that the least slip can ruin. It must be beautifully done for like a poem plot. The novel takes place over a few days in late August. It tells the story of 12-year-old tomboy Frankie Adams, who feels disconnected from the world. Basically, her brother is getting married, and she wants to go off with them. That's what it's about. And it's just really, really beautifully done. Anyway, Station 11, which I've heard such great things about, by Emily St. John Mandel. The Graveyard Book, full cast by Neil Gaiman. I've wanted to read that for a long time. The Shining by Stephen King, because I've never read a Stephen King book all the way through. How to Murder Your Life by Kat Marnell, supposed to be good. Crooked Kingdom by Lee Bardugo. That's a sequel to Six of Crows. I still haven't read that. The Most Dangerous Place on Earth by Lindsay Lee Johnson. The Knicks, a novel by Nathan Hill. I saw Andy Cohen reading that like 2 years ago, and I heard really, really good things about it. The Forgetting by Sharon Cameron. I heard that was great. Scarlet, The Lunar Chronicles. It's the second one. I haven't read it yet. And then it just goes on and on. These books are so old, some of these. Where'd You Go, Bernadette? A Little Life, a novel by Hanya Yanagihara. A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I can't believe I still haven't read that. You're a Badass by Jen Sincero. So many people told me to read that. Brain on Fire, which is about mental health. In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. Well, I read that Woman in Cabin 6, and I was like, I don't care if I ever read another Ruth Ware book again. Gone South by Robert McGammon. He's one of my favorite authors of life. Dorothy Must Die. I've never read that Dorothy Must Die series. I thought that would be fun to read. Tweak, Growing Up on Methamphetamine by Nick Sheff. So David Sheff is his dad that wrote Beautiful Boy, and I wanted to read the son's version of the story. The Elegance of the Hedgehog by Muriel Barberry. The 15 Lives of Harry by Claire North. Me Talk Pretty One Day by David Sedaris. Where They Found Her. This is like, I'm at the very bottom here. The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey. My publisher loved that book. Where They Found Her, a novel by Kimberly McKnight. Fatal Shadow. Somebody bought that for me. It's like this gay mystery FBI novel. Star Island by Carl Hyacin. I used to love Carl Hyacin back in the day. I read all of his stuff. He's hilarious. And Star Island is in Miami. And so I got it. This is how old this is, okay? I got this the last year that we road tripped it to Miami, and we've been flying the last couple years, so that's how long I've had it. And The Wicked Girls by Alex Marwood. Are those all the books that I have? You guys are like, Peter. I mean, I like skipped a lot of books in here. Let me go up here and tell you what books I skipped. You're like, we don't really care. The Last Days of Jack Sparks I skipped. Shark Man, which is some science fiction book about this guy that is genetically has like shark DNA in them or something. Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. I got that because that was like, I was part of this book club on Goodreads, and that was like the book that they were reading for the month. I never read it. The X-Filed Cold Cases. I don't know why. That must have been like a daily deal. A Simple Favor, a novel. Everybody told me it was horrible. The Crooked Staircase by Dean Koontz. Valerie's wanting to go to the casino. She's like texting me. She's like, and then what are you doing? I'm not going to the casino. I'm saying that, not going to the casino. You? Walk to Run 1 Mile, because it was like this book. It's really short. It doesn't even say how long it is. That's how short it is. It's like a half an hour. I think it was like maybe even free. And it's like it's like this motivational tape that you listen to that helps you like walk and then like get it from walking to running at like a mile. Anyway. Bluff by Michael Curtis. I read some book of his. She said nope, I'm home saving money, LOL. I read some book of his that was really, really good. A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman. I've heard so many great things about that. What She Knew by Gilly McMillan, or Jilly McMillan. The Troop by Nick Cutter. Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. Replay by Ken Grimwood, which is one of my favorite books of life. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. It's one of my dad's favorite books. Make Your Bed by William McRaven. It's like a motivational book. I have the book at home. A Dirty Job by Christopher Moore. You can tell when I go in here and like they have a sale where all the books are $2 or something like that, because I buy a bunch of them. An American Marriage by Tiara Jones. It's that was in Oprah's book club. I really wanted to read that. The Cadaver King, by Radley Balko. This book is like a true crime kind of mystery book that took place in the South, and it is supposedly fantastic. The Past and Other Things by Sean David Hutcherson. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's about it. Let's go in here and see the originals. You guys are like, this is so boring. So I get to pick 2 of these. You have 2 left this month. A Grown-Up Guide, Our Love of Dinosaurs Never Goes Extinct. Pass. Screwball, a quirky, lovable comedy about young Babe Ruth. Pass. The Man Who Knew the Way to the Moon, the unsung hero of NASA's greatest feat. Pass. Proof of Love by Chris Hutchinson. Parsing the Evidence at a Marital Crossroads. Who is she? I don't know who that is. Rivals and Frenemies. Meet the famous frenemies of history. Pass. The Adventures of Tom Stranger. Time to Kick Ass and Adjust Claims. None of those sound good. Depressing. I don't want to read any of those. They should put better books on there. Then it has Recommended for You. Oh, this must be where it is. Free for Members, Guided Meditations and Fitness. Rise and Shine Yoga Flows, Half Marathon Training, Ab Blaster, Strong Pregnancy Workout Program, Find Your Bliss, 3 Days to Bliss, Motivate. So you get all these free ones. Reset Your Day Meditations. Oh, I didn't know that these were down here. 21 Days of Guided Meditations. I'm going to have to start listening. Sleep Better, 5K Training, Walk to Run 1 Mile. There's mine. Road Warrior Workouts, Quick Workouts for Busy People, Beat Gym Boredom. I'm going to have to start listening to these. Guided Meditations. I love guided meditations. So yeah, that's pretty much my life. Books. You're like, Peter, you just spent 15 minutes talking about books. I could talk for 5 hours about books. I love books. I have a bookmark. I don't know where I got it, but I think somebody gave it to me or something, but it says something like, my world opened up the moment I learned to read. It's true too. So my goals for the next couple days, which is not like a big goal, but I want to finish Stranger Things, and I want to finish, people are driving so fast. And I want to finish the 2nd season of Girls Incarcerated, which I sat down tonight and I watched like a half of an episode. I think I'm halfway through the season. It's really good, this season. It's so sad. There was this whole part that I was watching that was all about like the girls having visitation from their families. And there was this one part about, okay, so this one girl that's there, she was like using heroin and dealing drugs, but she was like, she like went to Chicago and she was prostituting on the streets at 16. Okay, like this is so sad, right? This is this is true. Like this is like Indiana Girls School. This is like true story, right? And so her mom, who she hasn't seen in a year, comes to visit her. And this girl, like before that, is talking about like these huge issues that she has with her mom. But then all of a sudden, like she comes to visit and it's like, they're like best friends again. And they're sitting there eating. And this girl is like a hardcore drug addict, okay? And she's sitting there and she's eating like lunch with her mom. Like they like cook out and stuff. It's real nice. Like they do like this cookout for them and stuff. And her mom looks at her and she's like, now, you know you can't, like, be doing drugs again when you get out of here, right? And she's like, oh, yeah, I know that. And I'm like, that's as far as your knowledge of addiction goes, and you think that you have any ability to help your child when you get home. Like, it's so sad to me, you know, like, and you have to remember this, it's going to stop, hold on. You know, you have to remember, it's not treatment, you know, it's incarceration for, you know, these girls. It's, you know, Department of Corrections, and so their job isn't to do that, to, you know, reform, I mean, to reform them, I guess, kind of, to rehabilitate them, maybe, but, like, really, it's, I don't know, it's just sad to me, you know, and you can see that these families are fearful for them to come, these girls to come home, and at the same time, they can't wait for them to come home. And the one episode that I was watching, this girl reoffends, and she gets back in treatment, and she's like, I don't even think that I need to be here. I don't even think my charges were that big. And they're like asking her what her charges were, and she was like, well, I got pulled over, and they pulled out of my purse heroin, cocaine, and marijuana. And she's like 17. It's just, it breaks my heart, you know? And then this one girl is like 15 or 16 or something. She's real young. She looks really young. And she has a baby. And, like, her family never comes to visit. And she's like, she like has this breakdown. And this really reminded me of working in treatment when people wouldn't have their families come and visit. It was like, you know, you would think that, like, if you had your family come and visit while you're in a treatment facility, that would be, like, really profound. But it's almost more profound when they don't come to visit. And I think that it's a total feeling of isolation and loneliness. And this girl's, like, she, like, starts getting really upset. And she's like, well, the whole episode that I'm watching is all about, like, how these girls are affected by what is going on at home. Like, this one girl's mom is arrested for marijuana possession, and it's like a huge amount of marijuana too, right? And like when they're showing her mom just seems real normal and stuff. And then so she has a warrant to go, like, well, she's supposed to go to court, and she doesn't even go to court. She just is on the run. And so now this girl has to go home to her sister, who is 19, who's going to be the guardian of her from going forward, because her mom's like, I'm just going to give her over to you to be guardian. And, like, they're saying that she can't go home to her. I don't know what happens. I'm not there yet if she ends up going home to her or not. But I'm like, how do these kids possibly have a chance to, you know, and it was very similar to what I was living with when I was growing up. You know, it's like all these expectations for me were to change, but I would come home to my mom and she was still drinking. You know what I mean? And I think that one of the things that's important to note is just because I was living in a different suburb and maybe a little bit nicer of a house doesn't make it any different or any, you know, I think that's the thing, is that we look at things and we want to compare them by that, but the reality is it's still the same. This one girl is on the phone talking to her grandma, and her mom got arrested for visiting a common nuisance, which is like you go to a house where there's like a lot of drugs or, you know, whatever, partying. And she says to her grandma on the phone, she's 14, and she says to her grandma on the phone, meth addict at 14, it breaks my heart. And she says to her grandma on the phone, she goes, she expects me to make these changes, but she's not even being a good role model to me or something. And she goes, I don't know if I should be angry, if I should be sad. And she starts crying. It's just, it's so sad, you know? So I want to finish that this weekend and definitely finish Stranger Things. If I don't finish it, well, I won't probably finish it tonight now because it's gotten later, but then I'm going to definitely finish it tomorrow. Yep. And then I don't know what I should watch after that. Suggestions? I don't know why recently when I've been vlogging late at night, like my back has been hurting, like my lower back. It's probably because I sit like this in the car while I'm like, instead of sitting like this. But like, who wants to watch me like that? Like, hey, how are you? And then I was reading a little bit today on the patio and talked to Tanya. What else did I do? It's about my exciting life. The exciting life of Peter Monn is not really so exciting. Here, we'll use a different lip balm. That'll make it a little bit more exciting. I'll use this Laneige pear lip balm that I got that I really like. Do you ever, when you're using these things, like squeeze out more than you know that you're squeezing out, and you're like, oh my god, I have so much more. It smells so good. Maybe when I go home, I'll take a quick shower and do a little face mask and put on my shorty pajamas that I got from Amazon that I haven't even used yet. I don't know why these flowers on this patio have made me so happy, but they have. I just sit there and I like sit on the patio and I look at them. I just like water them, and I don't know, it just makes me happy. I do know though that this fall, like right away when mums come out, like the big yellow mums and stuff, I'm gonna get a bunch of them. I'm not gonna wait. Like in September, I'm gonna get them and I'm gonna make them so that they're huge, and I'm gonna enjoy them all through like September and October and early November. And then, you know, I always wait to put up my little Christmas tree, but this year I'm going to put it up real early. I'm going to start enjoying, like, you know, the seasons and the time and make the most of it. It's crazy, I think it's Friday night outside. There's not a lot going on. It's kind of dead out, actually. I guess I don't have a whole lot more to say. But I do need to get off here and finish my audiobook, so I'm going to do that so I can finish it before I go home. So I'm going to get off here. I hope you guys are having a fantastic... I don't know why that was so funny. It reminded me of my mom. My mom would just laugh. There was an Arthur... Did you ever see the movie Arthur with Dudley Moore? It's such a great movie. My dad loved that movie. But anyway, Arthur would laugh, and then he would say, sometimes I just think funny things. I love that, but my mom used to say that. She would just laugh out of the blue. It's like the one thing... I miss my mom's hugs. I miss the way that my mom smelled. She always smelled so fantastic. And it was kind of like the mixture of her perfumes and just like shit like her, I don't know, just her smell I miss. And I miss that. And then I miss her just kind of like randomly laughing. She would like think something and then she would just laugh, you know? She's like... And so if you were driving in a car with her, she'd just randomly laugh. I miss that. But anyway, okay, listen, I'm gonna get off here now. I hope you guys are having an amazing Saturday, unless you have other plans, and make the most of your day. Don't have other plans, just enjoy the day, make the most of it, live it as if it were your last. Do something that will make you have the best day possible. Take a risk, even if it's just trying a new kind of pancake or bagel or whatever, a new kind of Mountain Dew, who knows. Try something different, do something fun. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Look in the mirror, tell yourself that every single day until you believe it. It's important for us to believe it. And I'm like passing this billboard. It's for Kentucky Kingdom, which is an amusement park, and it has this guy on a roller coaster, and he's like this. And I'm like trying to be all serious, and I'm looking up, and there's this billboard, this guy, and he's like this. Going down a roller coaster. Look at yourself in the mirror every day and say, I love you. Work on it, believe it. You deserve to have self-worth. You deserve to believe in yourself. You are valuable. And that is why I say every day that if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And most importantly, pass it on to somebody else. We all need to hear it. And I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.